doctor, esa es nuestra regla fiscal.
Argentina has a new president named Javier Milei, who's been described by many people as far right. So he calls himself an anarcho-capitalist, and he's also a cosplayer who has his own superhero persona called General ANCAP, and his costume includes the ANCAP flag. But even though he calls himself an anarcho-capitalist, he doesn't actually want to abolish the state. So better terms to describe him would be libertarian or economically liberal, or as Americans would call him, fiscally conservative. He hates socialism and communism. He says that they're violent ideologies that create nothing but hunger and misery. So he supports free market capitalism and is against any government involvement, intervention, or regulation in the economy, instead wanting the government to only be in charge of things like security and justice. So he wants to massively reduce government spending, and he's shown up to several campaign events wielding a chainsaw to symbolize how he's going to cut government spending. So he wants all of the public services to be privatized, including the healthcare, the education, and even the roads. I'm not even making that up, like he wants to privatize the roads. And one of his first acts as president was basically abolishing 9 of the government departments, including the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Social Development, and the Ministry of Women, Genders, and Diversity. He's also against trade unions, he denies climate change, he calls it a socialist invention, and he also wants to legalize the sale of human organs. Javier Milei aligns politically with other right-wing anti-socialist politicians, including former US President Donald Trump and former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Milei is very pro-Western, and he considers the United States and Israel to be Argentina's most important allies, and he also supports Ukraine in the Russian-Ukrainian war. He's even considered adopting the US dollar as Argentina's currency. He's against trade and relations with socialist-run dictatorships like China, Venezuela, North Korea, Cuba, and Nicaragua. He's also insulted Brazil's current president, Lula da Silva, who's not a socialist, but he's a social democrat, which is kind of similar. But he's called Lula an angry communist, and he's suggested that he'd avoid doing business with Brazil. Now, China and Brazil are Argentina's 2 largest trading partners, and so if he breaks down relations with them, that could harm Argentina's economy. And in 2022, Argentina applied to join BRICS, which is the economic organization including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and Argentina was meant to join the organization in January 2024, but because Milei's new government is anti-China and anti-Russia, Argentina has decided that it's no longer going to be joining BRICS. Milei says that the British Falkland Islands belong to Argentina, but because he's a libertarian, he's against using war to take the islands, and instead wants to negotiate with the British government for the islands. He identifies as a Catholic, but he's been very critical of the Catholic Church under Pope Francis. He's called the Pope several names, including communist turd, piece of shit, and a representative of the evil one on earth. He's considered converting to Judaism, and he says that he reads the Torah daily. On several social issues, he's actually quite liberal. So he believes that drugs and prostitution should be legal. He has no problems with homosexuality because he believes sexuality to be a personal choice that the government shouldn't infringe on. He's not specifically against gay marriage, but he sees marriage in general as a contract and doesn't believe in it as an institution. But he's not more against gay marriage than he is to any other type of marriage. He also has no problem with people identifying as transgender, but he's against using government money to fund gender transitional medical care. He's also kind of compared homosexuality to having sex with an elephant, and he's compared transgender identification to identifying as a cougar. But he also supports the free sale of guns without restrictions, and he wants to ban foreigners with criminal records from entering the country, and wants to deport all immigrants who commit crimes. His most conservative view is definitely his strong pro-life stance. He believes that abortion should be illegal in all cases unless the woman's life is at risk. He's made it clear that even if a 10-year-old girl is raped, she still shouldn't be allowed to get an abortion. He's also against sex education because he believes it's a form of brainwashing, and he's against euthanasia. So yeah, quite the character. So I'm very interested to see what impact his policies have on Argentina's economy, because me personally, I'm a social democrat and a social liberal. I think that government intervention in the economy is the way to go, but I'm not willing to defend this ideology no matter what. I want to know what the right policies are and what policies are most beneficial for the economy and for humanity. So I want to see, are his policies going to improve the economy, or are they going to screw it up? I often listen to debates between people who are more pro-free market versus people who are more pro-government intervention, and they're always arguing with each other about, no, my economic system's better, no, my economic system's better. And I think that Argentina is going to be a very good test to see how well the free market approach works. Because if Argentina's economy now booms and the quality of life massively improves, that'll be a big victory for the pro-free market side. And in future debates, they'll always be saying, oh, well, look at Argentina. They went down the laissez-faire route, and now they're doing great. They're now the Singapore of South America. But at the same time, if everything goes south and Argentina's economy falls apart, that'll be seen as a big win for the anti-free market side. So what do you think about Javier Milei? Do you love him? Do you hate him? Do you think he's going to destroy the country? Do you think he's going to make Argentina great again, as Donald Trump has said? Let me know in the comments below.